trying to jump off the ship, and the Navy has been denying. This one made me sick, and it will you too. So sailors on a U.S. aircraft carrier are literally trying to jump off the ship, and the Navy has been denying that there's any problems at all since April. This is the USS Abraham Lincoln. This is a nuclear supercarrier out of San Diego, and it is now on the longest deployment for a modern carrier in history. A normal Navy carrier deployment runs about 6 to 7 months, and normally you would get a port call for a couple of days, roughly once a month, to decompress. The Lincoln left port last November. Trump and Netanyahu declared war on Iran, so the Navy directed it to the Middle East. And in over 8 months, it has touched land exactly twice. Once in Guam, where most sailors weren't even allowed off the ship, and once in Oman, where they were restricted to a secured compound. That is it. Over 250 days, breaking the modern record for consecutive days at sea without a real port call. That distinction matters because people are losing their minds. And we also know that they are not being properly cared for. In April, when families first started talking about food shortages and bad conditions, the Navy's official response in writing on X was that the reports were false, that the ship had sufficient food. By August, now, Military Times and Stars and Stripes had multiple sailors and family members on record describing hellish conditions. One wife says she got a call that her husband tried to jump overboard. He's now on medical hold, and she hasn't heard from the Navy since. Another sailor physically stopped a shipmate from jumping. Stars and Stripes reported a parent saying their son told them that he and his shipmates, quote, constantly think about jumping off the ship just for relief. That is awful. Now, over 200 family members just showed up to a meeting with the acting Secretary of the Navy to demand answers. The Navy Admiral finally admitted on the record that the deployment is affecting sailors' health. So the Navy's plan now is to send the USS Theodore Roosevelt to relieve the Lincoln, but they won't say when. And this is just unacceptable treatment by the military. Since April, they've been denying anything was happening. And now in August, here we are, sailors are trying to jump off a moving aircraft carrier. And nobody senior enough to fix it acted until families literally went to the press. This is what happens when the chain of command is too busy pushing testosterone shots to actually care for its service members. And when leadership is too dishonest to admit when it's screwing up and rejects competency over zealotry. If this makes you as angry as it makes me, call your representatives today. Ask them two things. First, to relieve the Lincoln's crew now. No more extensions. And second, demand accountability for how Secretary Hegseth has handled this. Because it's not enough to just say thank you for your service. After all, gratitude is more than just lip service. It's an action. It's also care. And right now, our service members are getting anything but.
So, I want to start off by saying all praises due to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakah, Hadash, and double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to you brothers teaching in truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the globe. All right, it's Taziaf coming back once again with a quick impromptu. And, hey, what you see is, this is another shameful, let's get that, shameful spewing on their glory. Let's get it. Habakkuk 2:16, it says, Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. And that's what we have, all right? You see it, the shameful spewing on their glory, okay? The U.S. used to have that ultimate fighting force, all right? And the Lord is breaking it down, man. Okay, the leadership is lost. There's no more armament. Okay, there aren't that many people interested in fighting a war that doesn't benefit them in any type of way. Okay, but it affects them in all ways. Okay, and it's looking bad for Edom and the seed of Satan, okay, which is Babylon the Great. Okay, now I wanted to bring that out real quick because ever since you know Vietnam was the one that I was going to reference. I know it's many more atrocities. You know, when the Civil War happened, you had atrocities against the 54th Regiment. All right, here in Boston, Mass, and they was trained over there in Reedville, Mass, at the end of Hyde Park. All right, and it's a marsh over there, and that's where they put those men to train, man. They put them in a marsh to fucking train, man. Okay, so if that doesn't tell you already, Jake, that this white man wants to use you in the military, but he's gonna treat you as a fucking dog in the military, okay? And that just goes hand in hand with the story that's been told by this lady, all right, about those people stuck on the Abraham Lincoln, all right, out there in the Straits of Hormuz. Yeah, so I got interrupted, and maybe I'll be able to, put it all together. If not, it'll be two parts. But yeah, so I was going into, America got a bad stain on them with how they treat those soldiers that's already over there blocking up the streets of Hormuz, right? And these soldiers are starving on that boat, and they've been on the boat too long. There's a rule for the Navy not to go beyond certain, amount of days out on open water, all right, because it could cause madness, all right, and that's what these sailors are reportedly going through, all right, and this goes all back to the leadership and the crumbling of Babylon the Great. Is no war vets in the military as of late, okay, and it's probably a very minuscule number of war vets in the military at this present moment, okay. So these new commanders in chief, they don't have any inkling of why, all right. Everything looks good on paper, but nobody has instructed them on why they have to really stick to it and be sincere in it, okay. And I think this is going to be a tell of the tape going into prophecy and what we're getting ready to see there, okay. We're getting ready to see World War III on the shores, all right, and all the well, let's just get it from the scriptures, because that's a telltale sign of great death about to happen to said army over there, okay. So let me just read this real quick, and then that'll be it. Let me read these prophecy that's linking up to that. So the unfair treatment of the soldiers. Let me just read this last part right here, 26 and 28. Salaki. Then they get down to the prophecy. Right? So it says Ecclesiastes 26 and 28. This is what is currently happening to those soldiers over there. It says, there be two things that grieve my heart, and the third make me angry. A man of war that suffereth poverty, and men of understanding that are not set by, and one that returneth from the righteousness to sin. The Lord prepareth such a one for the sword. So like I said, all the wrong moves are being made, okay. So it's going to be great death that come from said move, man. Those men are not happy to fight, so the sword is going to be put to them, man. All right, you're going to be put to death, as the scriptures say. All right, so let's just go to the breakdown of what's going to happen. Okay. All right. Let's get straight to the point. All right. This is Job 2:20. All right. And I'm going to read 19. I'll read at 18. It says, Then the Lord showed concern for his land. He had mercy on his people. All right. He answered them, Now I am going to give you grain and wine and olive oil, and you will be satisfied. Other nations will no longer despise you. All right, so the changing of that land mass over there, all right, Eastern Asia, okay, which is the home of the Israelites, mind you, okay, that is being terraformed by war, all right, on behalf of, the prophecy that Yahweh Shai is putting into play, okay. It says, I will remove the locust army that came from the north and will drive some of them into the desert. Their front ranks will be driven into the Dead Sea, their rear ranks into the Mediterranean. Their dead bodies will stink. I will destroy them because of all they have done to you. Right? So, all these armies are going to converge there. Okay? Every last one of them. But that North Army, okay? That North Army in this particular scripture is talking about, Babylon the Great, okay? And it's getting ready to get done to them. Bad, man, okay? The will to fight is lost. All right, like I showed in the clip, in the video clip, these people are not going to be able to have the will to fight. That's how you know that America's on its last leg. It's up out of here, man. It's just done. It's out. It's gone. All right, and this is an omen, man. This is fair warning. All right, Tiki, mini McPherson has been written on the wall. And Lord's will, I'll do a video on that later too. But people don't get the metaphors. They don't get the dark sayings of the scriptures, man. All right. And what you see, just that little inkling, man, it's a broad window into this prophecy that's happening, that I'm reading. Okay. So I just wanted to bring that out, man. Right now it's no more that could be said. It's a lot to be said, but it's no more to be said. The ride is leaving. Okay, the door is closing. That's why it feels this way. Okay. So with that, I want to say all praises due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakah, Kadash, and double honor to the elder apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to you, brothers, teaching the truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the globe. Shalom.